G'day guys, let's get kicked into our first Monday motivation. So on Thursday you would have read my post, and thank you so much for all the likes and everything and all the support that everyone gave. It was really, really awesome. It was something I kind of thought, you know what, if I can reach one person, it looks like it might have reached a couple. So I am so chuffed about that. What we wanted to do today was take you through trying to expand on a couple of those goals. So there was two things that I needed you to do last time. The first one was that I wanted you to write down a list of things that you wanted to try and do, to try and come up with ways to make yourself a little bit more awesome, the things that you want to work on yourself. And the second one was to find your why. Now, the why is really, really important. The reason that it's so important is because we will very, very quickly forget the reason for doing something, and we will try and make convenient ways to get out of it. So if your why is your family, as an example, if your why is your spouse or your kids, get your kids on the phone and get a recording of them and say, I'm relying on you to do this. If that is truly what your why is, you kind of need to make sure that that is there driving you, because otherwise, if you don't have a why, you're going to start to make excuses around it. And with your goals, when you set them, we're going to be using what's called the SMART principle. Now, if you don't know what the SMART principle is, that's totally cool, because we're about to go through it in a second. So SMART is an acronym. The S in the SMART means that I want you to be specific. It means that I want you to actually find out what exactly it is that you want to do. Don't just say that you want to lose weight. That's cool. Say you want to lose 10 kilos. Don't just say you want to start running more. That's not good enough. You need to say, I want to be able to run every day. I want to be able to run 5Ks. You've got to be specific about what it is you want. So pull out that little list that you got. I'm hoping that you put one together. And if you haven't, cool, please put one together. Writing things down in a list is fantastic for humans. I guarantee it. I do it all the time. It's one of my great to-do lists, is to put things in a list. Write it down. Make it specific. Find out exactly what that goal is, what the success for it is. M is measurable. Measurable means that you need to be able to find how you're progressing on it. Now, you can't measure be more awesome. What you can measure, though, is you say, I want to be more awesome by being more patient. Now, patience itself is very difficult to measure. So you kind of think, okay, what about if I take into account, let's say I lose my patience 2 or 3 times a week with the kids. What if I was to say, I'll try and keep my patience for 1 more day. So instead of 2 to 3 days, I'll do 1 to 2 days. Just try 1 day where you don't lose your patience. Sometimes that's enough. Ultimately, that's up to you, but you've got to try and find a way to get around it. The A is for attainable. You need to be able to actually attain this goal. You can't just say, I'm going to fly. It's not going to happen. You know it's not going to happen. I wish it could. I would love to fly. It's one of my dream things, but it's not going to happen. So make sure it's attainable. Similarly, with some of the other goals, you're probably not going to beat Usain Bolt. I'm not going to rule it out. Don't underestimate how awesome you are, but it's not likely to happen. So maybe try and keep it within the realm of what you're able to do. R is relevant. You've got to keep relevant goals to yourself. If one of your awesome points is trying to be more patient, as an example, then all the kind of things that go along with that are try to keep your patience with the kids, keep patience with co-workers, etc. Running is cool. Running doesn't necessarily make you more patient. So if you're pretty cool with running, don't try and add running into the mix. That's kind of a bit irrelevant in a way. T is for timely. This is a really important bit because time gives you urgency. The reason procrastinators don't do things until the last day is because they don't feel the urgency to do it. They kind of go, oh, put it off, put it off, put it off. You've got to basically look at yourself and say, this has to happen now. I need to stop mucking around with this, and there has to be a bit of urgency, because otherwise my goals may get away from me. If my goal, as an example, was that in 3 years' time, let's say my boss was going to retire in 3 years' time, my urgency is that I can't just finish a uni degree overnight. I can't finish a business course overnight. I've got to look at where I am right now. And I've got to basically say, you know what, I'm missing this, this, and this. And if I want that job, they're what I need to get done. And they're not quickly attainable. So I've got to do the hours. I've got to put in my time. I've got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and start doing some of my study, which is what I do at the moment, because I want to make sure that I'm going to be ready for it when the opportunity presents itself. It is much better for you to not be ready and have the opportunity, and have the opportunity and not be ready. So make sure that you're on top of it, guys. You've really got to keep an eye on that. Motivation's only there to help and remind you at the end of the day. Motivation itself isn't going to get you far, and there will be a testament to that. How many times have you basically looked at motivational videos, you've listened to motivational talks, you've listened to music, and you go, yeah, cool, pump, 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 pump. You go to jump on the treadmill, you're ready to go, but it lasts like, what, a day, a week, maybe? Because you don't drive anything further into it. You've got to make 100% sure that if you are going to do it, you've got to have a why behind it, and you've got to be ready to go. Next week, guys, what we're going to start talking about is the action plans. We've got our goals. Now we're going to figure out the actions that we need to do it. I hope you're going awesome. Please drop me a line. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear if these messages are getting through, and if there's anything specific you'd like, please let me know. Good on you guys.